The Galactic Council chamber erupted in chaos as Ambassador Vextel's war cry echoed off the crystal walls. His 12-foot frame towered over the diplomatic table, forearms spreading wide as his species' natural aggression boiled over. 3 other alien delegates scrambled backward, their translators crackling with panic. Queen Helena Vasquez didn't flinch. She remained seated in her simple black chair, one hand resting on the smooth surface before her, the other gently stroking the small tabby cat purring in her lap. The cat's green eyes tracked every movement in the room with predatory focus. "You dare bring a primitive creature into these sacred halls?" Vextool's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sound that made most beings freeze in terror. "Your species insults us with this display of—" The cat's purr cut off. Absolute silence fell over the chamber. Helena's royal guard, Captain Marcus Chen, stepped forward with practiced calm. His deep brown eyes never left the Krexay warrior, though his posture remained relaxed. 20 years of protecting Earth's first interstellar monarch had taught him to read danger in the smallest details. The way Vextel's secondary arms twitched, the yellowish tint creeping across his chitinous faceplates, the subtle shift of weight that preceded a Krexide battle charge. "Ambassador," Helena's voice carried the authority of someone who had united Earth's fractured nations through the worst alien invasion in human history. "Princess here isn't just any cat. She's a veteran of the Zephyrian War. Perhaps you'd like to hear about her service record?" The cat princess lifted her head slightly. Her pupils dilated as she focused on Vextel. The tip of her tail began to twitch. "Impossible!" hissed Counselor Ythra from across the chamber. The serpentine diplomat's scales rippled with nervous energy. Felinus domesticus are non-sentient companions. They have no military applications. Helena's smile held no warmth. "That's what the Zephyrian Empire thought when they invaded our outer colonies 3 years ago. 10 billion of their finest warriors, supported by gravity weapons and phase shift technology that made them nearly invincible." Captain Chen's hand moved imperceptibly closer to his sidearm, not because he expected to need it, but because he recognized the particular quality in his queen's voice that preceded demonstrations of human ingenuity, the kind that had earned their species a seat on this council through blood and determination. "Your point, human?" Vextel's tone dripped condescension, but Marcus noticed the warrior's combat stance shifting. Good instincts, even if he didn't understand what he was sensing. Princess stretched, her claws extending briefly before retracting. The movement was fluid, precise, and somehow threatening despite her small size. Her whiskers twitched as she scented the air, cataloging each alien's unique biochemical signature. "The point," Helena said, "is that you're about to experience what happens when humans get creative with our companions. Princess isn't just a cat, gentlemen. She's augmented." The word hung in the air like a death sentence. Counselor Theron, whose crystalline form had remained motionless throughout the exchange, suddenly began to resonate with harmonic frequencies that indicated extreme concern. "Augmentation of non-sentient life forms violates 17 interstellar treaties, only if done without consent," Helena replied. Princess volunteered. Vextel's laugh was like grinding metal. "Animals cannot give consent, foolish human. This charade." Princess turned her head to look directly at him. Her green eyes held an intelligence that made the massive warrior stumble backward. Not the simple awareness of a pet, but the calculating focus of something that understood exactly what it was looking at. Something that was making tactical assessments and finding them favorable. Marcus felt the familiar chill that accompanied watching Princess evaluate potential threats. He'd seen that look on the Zephyrian moonbase when she'd single-handedly eliminated an entire platoon of elite shadow troops while he and Queen Helena fought their way to the central command hub. "How?" Ythra's voice was barely a whisper. Helena scratched behind Princess's ears. The cat leaned into the touch while never breaking eye contact with Vextel. Neural enhancement through symbiotic nanobots, not control partnership. Princess keeps her feline instincts and adds human tactical awareness. The perfect fusion of predator and strategy. "Prove it!" Vextel snarled, though his aggressive posture had shifted to something more defensive. "Your pet cannot." Princess leaped. The motion was so fast that even Marcus's enhanced reflexes barely tracked it. One moment the cat was in Helena's lap. The next she was perched on the conference table directly in front of the Krexai ambassador. Her small form seemed impossibly large as she arched her back, fur standing on end, eyes locked on the warrior's primary optical cluster. Vexthal froze. Every instinct his species had developed over millions of years of evolution was screaming that he faced a predator far more dangerous than his size and strength could overcome. The primitive part of his brain that had kept his ancestors alive recognized something in the small creature that transcended physical dimensions. Princess sat down and began grooming her paw with deliberate calm. Her message was clear. I could have reached your throat, but I chose not to. Magnificent, Helena said softly. Now, shall we discuss the real reason I'm here? The war between the hegemony and the free systems had reached its critical phase, and Earth found itself caught between two massive alien empires that viewed humanity as an irrelevant footnote to galactic history. The Galactic Council had summoned Queen Helena not as an equal, but as a reminder that smaller species should know their place when giants fought. Counselor Ythra's forked tongue flicked nervously as she consulted her data pad. The hegemony advances on 7 fronts. Their bioweapons have devastated the Centauri colonies. The free systems retreat toward the core worlds, but their fleet cannot hold much longer. Neither empire requests human intervention, added Theron, his crystalline form pulsing with subdued light. Your species lacks the numbers or technology to affect the outcome. Helena remained still, one hand continuing to stroke Princess's fur. The cat had returned to her lap, but her attention stayed fixed on the assembled delegates. Marcus wondered if they truly understood what they were seeing. Princess wasn't just enhanced. She was a window into human adaptation capabilities that most aliens found conceptually impossible. You're right, Helena admitted. Humanity cannot match hegemony bioweapons or free system energy shields. We can't field fleets numbering in the millions or crack planets with gravitational weapons. Vexthal leaned forward, his earlier wariness temporarily forgotten. Then why waste our time? This council convenes to address matters of galactic significance, not to humor primitive perimeter's citizens. The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop several degrees, because, Helena continued as if the ambassador hadn't spoken, what we lack in raw power we compensate for through partnership and ingenuity. The same qualities that transformed ordinary house cats into something that makes warriors like yourself reconsider their assumptions. Marcus stepped closer to the Queen's chair, not from concern for her safety, but to better observe the aliens' reactions. His training included extensive xenop psychology, and he could read the subtle tells that indicated each species' emotional state. Ythra's scales showed stress patterns. Theron's harmonic resonance had shifted to frequencies associated with uncertainty. Even Vexthal's aggressive posture contained defensive elements that hadn't been present before Princess's demonstration. The Zephyrian Empire thought they understood human capabilities, Helena said. They studied our military technology, analyzed our fleet compositions, calculated our industrial capacity. By every logical measure, their invasion should have succeeded within 6 months. Princess began to purr again, a sound that somehow carried ominous undertones, now that the aliens understood what they were hearing. Instead, the war lasted 3 years, and ended with human forces occupying their homeworld, Marcus added quietly. Not through superior technology or numbers, but through adaptation. Counselor Ythra's datapad trembled in her grip. The reports were classified. How could you know the details of their tactical assessments? Helena's smile was sharp as a blade. Because they made the same mistake you're making now. They assumed that evolution follows predictable patterns, that enhancement means replacement rather than synthesis. They never imagined that humans would choose to share consciousness with their companion animals instead of simply controlling them. Vextol's mandibles clicked uncertainly. Impossible. Neural integration across species barriers requires compatible brain structures, similar cognitive architectures. Compatible, Helena interrupted, doesn't mean identical. Cats process visual data at twice human speed. Their hearing range exceeds ours by several octaves. Their balance and spatial awareness operate through quantum mechanical sensitivity in their inner ears. When you combine those advantages with human analytical reasoning and strategic planning, Princess stood and stretched again, her movement fluid and purposeful. She padded across the conference table toward Vex's stool, each step perfectly silent despite the surface's hard crystal composition. The HFY warrior tensed, but didn't retreat. Marcus admired his courage, even if it was poorly informed. The cat stopped just beyond Vexthal's reach and sat down facing him. Her green eyes held his gaze, while her enhanced neural networks analyzed his biochemical responses, muscle tension patterns, and micro-expressions through spectrums, invisible to an augmented vision. Helena observed, "She can smell the pheromones your species releases under stress, hear the subtle harmonics in your respirations that indicate tactical analysis. Right now, Princess understands your physical capabilities better than you know them yourself." Princess tilted her head slightly, the gesture almost playful if not for the predatory intelligence behind it. Her nanobotic enhancements allowed her to process this data through human cognitive frameworks, while maintaining feline reflexes and sensory acuity. The combination was devastatingly effective. "The question isn't whether humanity can affect the outcome of your war," Helena continued. "The question is whether you want us on your side when we do." The weight of that statement settled over the chamber like a gravity field. None of the assembled delegates spoke, but Marcus could see their minds racing through implications. If humans had transformed house cats into enhanced warriors capable of intimidating HFY fighters, what else might they have accomplished? Princess returned to Helena's lap with the same silent grace she displayed approaching Vexel. Her demonstration was complete, but the message lingered in every delegate's awareness. Earth might seem primitive by galactic standards, but their creative approach to enhancement technology had produced results that transcended conventional military thinking. "What do you propose?" Thurine's harmonic frequencies had stabilized into patterns suggesting cautious respect. Helena's hand found Princess's fur again. "Partnership. Not as junior allies or mercenaries, but as equals. Humanity brings adaptation capabilities your empires haven't considered. Our enhanced companion species represent only the beginning of what's possible when you stop thinking in terms of domination and start embracing synthesis." Vexthal's forearms crossed in a gesture Marcus recognized as grudging acknowledgement. "And in return, we help end this war before it consumes the galaxy," Helena replied. "But more importantly, we demonstrate that evolution doesn't have to follow the same tired patterns of conquest and subjugation that have defined galactic politics for the last 10,000 years. Princess began grooming her paw again, the simple action somehow profound in its implications. Here was a creature that had maintained her essential nature while gaining capabilities that made veteran warriors reconsider their assumptions about strength and threat assessment. She embodied the human approach to progress. Enhancement through partnership. The silence stretched until Counselor Yithra finally spoke. "The hegemony fleet masses at the Proxima Junction. If human forces could disrupt their supply lines, consider it done," Helena said. "Princess and her units specialize in impossible infiltrations." Marcus allowed himself a small smile as he watched the aliens try to process the concept of cats in spacesuits conducting military operations. Their struggle to reconcile the image with demonstrated capabilities revealed exactly why humanity would succeed where traditional approaches had failed. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when humans decided to share a war instead of fighting alone. 3 hours later, the CSS Determination hung in dark space beyond the Proxima Junction's detection grid. Captain Chen stood beside Queen Helena on the bridge, watching enhanced cats in specialized environmental suits floating through zero-gravity training exercises in the adjacent bay. Each feline wore a harness equipped with microthrusters, atmospheric processors, and neural link amplifiers that connected them to human support teams. Princess supervised the training from a perch near the observation window, her eyes tracking every movement with professional attention. The nanobotic enhancements that had impressed the Galactic Council were only the surface level of human innovation. The real breakthrough was the symbiotic relationship between species, creating tactical units that function through trust and mutual understanding, rather than simple command structures. "Infiltration Team Alpha reports ready," announced Lieutenant Sarah Kem from her workstation. The young officer's neural crown gleamed under the bridge lighting, its crystalline components interfacing directly with the enhanced cats assigned to her unit. "Princess confirms target assessment complete." Helena nodded, her attention focused on the tactical display showing hegemony fleet positions throughout the junction. 17 massive bioships anchored the formation, each one capable of sterilizing a planet through viral bombardment. Traditional military doctrine would require a fleet engagement with massive casualties and uncertain outcomes. Human doctrine preferred more creative solutions. "Begin insertion," Helena commanded. The Determination's cargo bay opened silently, releasing 12 human-cat teams into the void. Marcus watched through enhanced sensors as the pairs moved toward the hegemony fleet, using minimal thruster signatures and approaches calculated to exploit gaps in alien sensor coverage. Each cat wore a specialized suit that not only protected them from space but enhanced their natural abilities. Princess's team had drawn the most challenging assignment, the flagship's bioweapon storage facility. The compartment existed within living tissue that could detect chemical intrusion and respond with immune system activation. Standard infiltration equipment would trigger defensive reactions before reaching the target. But cats had spent millions of years hunting creatures that could detect their presence through scent, sound, and electromagnetic signatures. Enhanced felines operating through neural partnership with human tactical specialists represented something entirely outside hegemony defensive planning. Marcus monitored Princess's bioreadings through the command link. Her heart rate remained steady despite the massive alien vessel looming ahead. The enhanced nanobots in her system processed environmental data while her feline instincts evaluated the massive ship as just another form of prey. Dangerous but comprehensible. "Contact in 30 seconds, Lieutenant Kim reported. Princess indicates optimal entry point located." Through the Neuralink, Marcus could sense Princess's evaluation of the bioship's hull structure. The living metal breathed with slow, regular contractions that created brief pressure variations. To human senses, these would be meaningless fluctuations. To enhanced feline perception, they revealed pathways through the ship's defensive systems that followed biological rather than technological logic. Princess attached herself to the hull during a breathing cycle, her claws finding purchase in microscopic irregularities, while her suit's adaptive camouflage matched the ship's bioluminescent patterns. Her human partner, Specialist David Chen, Marcus's younger brother, provided tactical analysis while Princess's enhanced senses guided their approach to the weapon storage facility. "Remarkable," Helena murmured as she watched the infiltration progress. 6 months ago, the Council questioned whether cats had sufficient intelligence for enhancement. Now Princess is conducting operations that would challenge our best special forces. Marcus nodded, remembering the early enhancement experiments when scientists had tried to impose human cognitive structures on feline consciousness. The results had been disappointing until Dr. Elizabeth Reeves suggested a partnership approach instead of technological domination. The breakthrough came when they stopped trying to make cats think like humans and started helping humans think like cats. "Princess, reports interior access achieved," Lieutenant Kim announced, switching to stealth protocols. The bioship's internal environment would have been instantly lethal to unprotected humans. Atmospheric pressure variations that could liquefy organs. Temperature fluctuations ranging from near absolute zero to plasma levels. Gravitational fields that shift without warning as the ship's living systems responded to operational requirements. Princess navigated these hazards through enhanced senses that processed environmental data faster than any computer. Her feline balance systems, augmented through nanobotic integration, allowed her to move through gravity fields that would have incapacitated human specialists. Meanwhile, David provided strategic analysis and communication links, while Princess's natural stalking abilities kept them undetected. "Multiple teams reporting successful insertion," Kim continued. "Admiral Thexnull's command center shows no security alerts." Helena studied the tactical display as human-cat teams penetrated deeper into the hegemony formation. Each bioship represented a different challenge. Some relied on psychic defenses that could scramble unprotected minds. Others generated energy fields that would fry electronic equipment. The diversity of threats would have made coordinated infiltration nearly impossible using conventional methods. But the enhanced cats approached each challenge through predatory instincts that transcended technological categories. They moved through psychic fields by thinking like hunters rather than reasoning beings. They bypassed energy barriers by following feline curiosity rather than tactical doctrine. Their human partners provided strategic context while the cats handled environmental adaptation. Princess indicates bioweapon storage facility located. David's voice came through the communication link. Beginning neutralization sequence. Marcus felt pride swell in his chest as he watched his brother work alongside the enhanced cat. The weapon storage facility contained viral agents capable of eliminating entire civilizations. But Princess approached it with the same focused attention she'd once brought to hunting toys in Queen Helena's private quarters. Her nanobotic enhancements allowed her to analyze molecular structures, while her feline instincts guided precise movements through defensive systems. The facility's biomechanical security relied on recognizing threat patterns, but Princess didn't register as threatening. She was simply curious about interesting scents and textures. Neutralization complete, David reported as Princess finished introducing human-developed antibodies into the weapons storage chambers, moving to secondary target. Across the Hegemony Formation, other human cat teams were achieving similar successes. The alien bioship's most sophisticated defenses proved useless against creatures that operated through partnership rather than domination, curiosity rather than domination, adaptation rather than force. Fleet movement detected, announced the Determination Sensor Operator. Free system forces approaching from Galactic North. Helena smiled as she recognized the tactical coordination she'd arranged before leaving the council chambers. While human cat teams neutralized hegemony bioweapons, free system fleets would engage in conventional battle. The aliens would face an enemy that couldn't be poisoned, couldn't be infected, couldn't be eliminated through the viral warfare that had dominated their previous victories. Princess reports mission complete, Lieutenant Kim announced. All teams requesting extraction. Granted, Helena replied. Signal the Free Systems fleet. Hegemony bioweapons are neutralized. They can engage without fear of viral retaliation. Marcus watched Princess and David emerge from the bioship's hull and rocket back toward the Determination, using their suit thrusters. Behind them, the massive Hegemony vessel continued its regular operations while unaware that its most devastating weapons had been rendered harmless by a small cat and her human partner. The real battle was just beginning, but humanity had already changed its fundamental nature. The galaxy's first conflict, where biological weapons were neutralized through feline curiosity and nanobotic enhancement rather than superior firepower or technological countermeasures. Contact! The sensor operator's voice cut through the bridge as free system ships emerged from hyperspace. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes lit the darkness as two galactic empires clashed in earnest. But this time, one side fought without the certainty of viral victory, while the other attacked with knowledge that their most feared enemies couldn't deploy their ultimate weapons. The balance that had maintained galactic warfare for millennia shifted in a single moment. When cats became warriors, Princess landed in the Determination's cargo bay and padded toward the bridge, her mission complete but her attention already focused on new challenges ahead. The battle raged for 14 hours. Marcus watched from the Determination's bridge as free system fleets engaged hegemony bioships in the largest space combat since the Second Galactic War. Energy weapons carved brilliant paths through darkness while gravity bombs warped space-time into killing fields. Thousands of fighters swarmed between capital ships, their pilots locked in deadly dances that would determine the fate of entire systems. But the hegemony fleet fought without their signature advantage. Previous battles had ended when bioweapons reduced enemy crews to dissolving organic matter, allowing hegemony ships to claim victory through attrition rather than tactical supremacy. Without that option, their commanders struggled to adapt strategies developed around inevitable biological warfare. Free systems advance on all fronts, reported Lieutenant Kim, as her displays updated with battlefield intelligence. Hegemony forces retreating toward the galactic core. Helena remained focused on the tactical implications of what they were witnessing. This wasn't just a military victory. It was a fundamental shift in how galactic powers would approach conflict. Bioweapons had dominated interstellar warfare because no species had developed effective countermeasures. Human cat teams offered exactly that, through an approach no one had considered possible. Princess sat on the command chair's armrest, watching the battle through enhanced senses that processed electromagnetic spectrums invisible to human perception. Her nanobotic implants translated energy weapon signatures into patterns her feline consciousness could evaluate, creating tactical assessments that combined instinctive predator responses with analytical reasoning. Admiral Thexnell signals surrender. Remaining hegemony forces request terms. The bridge fell silent except for the hum of life support systems. 7 hours earlier, the hegemony had commanded the largest fleet in known space with weapons capable of ending civilizations. Now they faced defeat, because enhanced house cats had neutralized their primary advantage through curiosity and partnership rather than superior technology. Open communications, Helena commanded. Full diplomatic protocols. The main screen resolved into the image of Admiral Thexnell, his chitinous features bearing scars from a dozen previous campaigns. The hegemony leader's compound eyes reflected defeat, but also something Marcus recognized as professional respect. Military commanders understood tactical innovation even when it challenged their assumptions about warfare. Queen Helena. The Admiral's voice carried harmonic undertones that indicated formal acknowledgement between equals. The hegemony requests terms of surrender. Unconditional ceasefire across all fronts, Helena replied. Immediate withdrawal from contested systems. Full access to bioweapon research facilities for neutralization and medical application development. Princess meowed softly, her enhanced consciousness processing the negotiation through predatory instincts that evaluated territory threat assessment and resource allocation. Her input flowed through the neuralink to Helena, providing perspective that combined feline territorial awareness with human diplomatic complexity. And in return, Admiral Thexnell inquired, partnership in developing enhancement technologies that benefit all species, Helena said. The same cooperation that created Princess can be adapted for hegemony bioship integration, free system energy matrix optimization, and countless other applications. Marcus watched the Admiral's reaction to Princess, who had turned to study the hegemony leader through the screen. The enhanced cat's green eyes held the same calculating intelligence that had impressed the Galactic Council, but now Admiral Thexnell understood the full implications of what he was seeing. Your feline companions achieved what our greatest warriors considered impossible, the Admiral admitted. How do we know this technology won't be weaponized against us? Princess stretched and began grooming her paw with deliberate calm. The simple action conveyed more than diplomatic speeches. She was demonstrating that enhancement didn't eliminate essential nature, but refined it through partnership. Her feline behaviors remained unchanged while her capabilities expanded through symbiotic cooperation. Because weaponization requires domination, Helena explained. Our enhancement process works through partnership and mutual benefit. Princess chooses to work with us because she gains from the relationship, not because we control her responses. The distinction was crucial. Traditional military enhancement involved imposing technological capabilities on biological systems through force or conditioning. Human enhancement achieves superior results through voluntary cooperation that maintained each partner's core identity while expanding shared capabilities. The hegemony accepts proposed terms, Admiral Thexnell announced after several minutes of internal communication. We also request immediate consultation regarding bioship enhancement applications. Helena smiled as she recognized the implications of the Admiral's request. The same partnership principles that had created enhanced cats could be applied to living spacecraft, creating vessels that combined biological adaptation with technological precision. The possibilities were limitless once species abandoned domination in favor of cooperative evolution. Granted, Helena replied. Princess will supervise the initial evaluations. The enhanced cat looked up from her grooming as if she understood her new assignment. Marcus suspected she did. The nanobotic enhancement hadn't just improved her senses and cognitive abilities, but had enabled genuine communication between human and feline consciousness. Princess participated in decisions, rather than simply following commands. The Free Systems Fleet signals all clear, Lieutenant Kim reported. Battle formations dispersing to standard patrol configurations. Marcus watched through the bridge viewports as the immediate aftermath of Galactic War gave way to something unprecedented. Voluntary cooperation between species that had been enemies minutes earlier. Hegemony bioships moved alongside free system energy vessels to begin joint operations that would have been impossible without the neutralization of bioweapons. Signal all units to begin Phase 2 operations, Helena commanded. Integration protocols now in effect. The next stage would prove even more challenging than the battle itself. Military victory was one thing, Transforming galactic civilization required changes in fundamental assumptions about evolution, technology, and consciousness that most species would find conceptually difficult. But Princess had already demonstrated the possibilities when she'd intimidated warriors through simple presence and obvious intelligence. If a house cat could transcend traditional limitations through partnership, what might entire civilizations achieve through similar cooperation? Incoming transmission from the Galactic Council, announced the communications officer. Priority Alpha classification. On screen, Helena replied. Counselor Ythra's image appeared, her serpentine features showing expressions Marcus had never seen before, uncertainty mixed with something that might have been hope. The council chamber behind her bustled with activity, as representatives from dozens of species processed reports from the Proxima Junction battle. Queen Helena, Ythra began. Preliminary analysis of your tactical demonstrations suggests applications across multiple scientific disciplines. The Council formally requests comprehensive enhancement cooperation agreements. Helena scratched behind Princess's ears while considering the magnitude of what the Council was proposing. Full cooperation would mean sharing human enhancement technologies with species that possessed fundamentally different biological and cognitive structures. The risks were enormous, but so were the potential benefits. Princess purred and rubbed against Helena's hand, her enhanced consciousness offering approval through the neural link. The cat's assessment was simple but profound. Cooperation felt right in ways that domination never had. Accepted, Helena replied. But the partnership principles remain non-negotiable. Enhancement through force or control will not be permitted under any circumstances. Understood, Ythra acknowledged. When can we begin? Helena looked at Princess, who had settled into a comfortable position for the long negotiations ahead. The enhanced cat's green eyes reflected satisfaction with the day's work and anticipation for whatever challenges tomorrow might bring. Immediately, Helena said. Princess has already selected her new assignment. As if responding to her cue, Princess stood and padded to the edge of the command chair. She looked directly at the council transmission, her enhanced gaze holding Counselor Ythra's attention, with the same focused intelligence that had transformed military conflict into diplomatic cooperation. The galaxy would never be the same. Somewhere in the cosmos, house cats were preparing to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly stretch where no cat had stretched before. And they would do it all through partnership, curiosity, and the human understanding that evolution worked best when no one had to lose their essential self to gain something greater. Princess meowed once, a sound that somehow conveyed agreement, anticipation, and the eternal feline confidence that whatever came next, she would handle it with appropriate dignity and the occasional strategic nap. The age of enhancement through partnership had begun, and it would be magnificent.